quite sure who that was, but we will be keeping an eye on the problem there for the rider. Waving his hands, but thankfully it was only on the start of the warm-up lap that he had incurred the problem and not at the start of the race, because we never want to see anyone have any problems on the grid at the start of the race. So, the Moto2 riders make the way round for the warm-up lap, and as we have been bigging it up on the intro to this show, it's Senna Aegis versus Carlos Tatai for support. It's still very warm out there. I'd much rather still be in this commentary box with an aircon.
Yeah, very much so. Cannot disagree there at all. It is quite warm at my trips to Park Ferme. It's quite a shock to the system.
Yeah, it'll be like walking into Waitrose back home and having that heater hit you in the winter time as you walk into Park Ferme. But they won't be feeling the heat out there, or they won't be feeling the air temperature so much out there, well, the Moto2 riders, but they might be feeling the heat from the tension out there as they prepare for 16 laps of hot and heavy action. Oscuro machine, now number 49 of
Francisco Monjardo, if I'm not mistaken, having a long conversation with the marshals down in pit lane. It looks like he's set for a pit lane stop.
Off the grid at the front. The red lights will be coming on any moment, and 16 laps of Moto2 European Championship action starts now, and it's a great start from pole position from Senna Aegis. Carlos Tatai got another great launch as well. A yellow flag is pulled in, so no one's stalled at the back, but for now a bit of a head shake on for Carl Lewis as he looks up there instead of Tatai, but Senna Aegis, your championship leader, leads away from Carlos Tatai, and that's one
2 for 1 at turn 1.
Amazing there from the number 67 of Alberto Sura from 5th on the grid. He's big moment there
Tatai.
for Carlos Tatai, out of the seat, almost off the bike, leg waving, and that's given the number 8 of Tapia the chance to move ahead of him into 3rd spot. So Tatai, a bit of a leery opening couple of corners, and that sees Tatai down to 4th, but he's already looking up the inside of Tapia for 3rd spot, and that's Voigt just behind them as well. Voigt is now into 5th spot. He came from all the way down in 10th, and he's already made up 5 positions. So for now, Senna Aegis leads away ahead of Alberto Sura and Carlos Tatai.
Yeah, a shocking start off the line from Tatai. Not necessarily off the line, but coming through turn 1, he had his moment. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from Aegis out front. Very composed coming through there, while Alberto Sura shot from the 2nd row into P2, getting a 2 for 1 on the right-hander into turn 1. That's the exact start he would have wanted, with a long lap penalty coming.
Behind them, it is the number 8 of the FAL 55T Racing machines, the Yamaha Philippines Stylop machines of Tapia and Harrison Voigt. So Voigt, who had a big crash here 2 years ago, already putting that to bed, and as they come across the line, he's in 5th spot, but Sura is already on the back of Senna Aegis. Do we have a fight on the hand? Oh, big crash for Tatai. He's gone over the front. Tatai's gone off into turn number 1. Oh, he's sliding out. Oh, him and the bike have gone to the bars. Fingers crossed that Carlos Tatai is okay. Not sure what happened there. We've got a couple of riders down the background. Without the information we get on the 2 after that big one from Carlos Tatai, but this is a great showing so far from Alberto Sura. It's just such a shame, Chris, that he does have that long lap penalty.
And here he comes up the inside, just to let Aegis know that he is there and he is not alone. Carlos Tatai may be gone, but Alberto Sura is here, and he looks like he is here to stay. He does have that long lap penalty coming, but he is showing some remarkable pace across the opening laps here. If he can put a little bit of space between him and Aegis as they come into turn 8 and 9, maybe his long lap penalty won't be as detrimental to his race as it could have been. But here comes Aegis back up front. That's what a championship leader does, but he hangs it. Alberto Sura hangs it on the outside, and he's going to have the inside run coming through. Now the next turn's at turn 12. Will he make it stick? Will he hold it to the penultimate turn 14?
And then he goes straight into the long lap penalty loop.
Let's see how he does. It looks like he's done it quite okay. A little bit wide, but drops into P5. I think he's just going to drop in behind the number 18 of Xavi Cardaluz. That is quite detrimental towards Aegis, perhaps a little bit more than he would have wanted, and Aegis now has open air between him and the riders behind him, Marco Tapia, Roberto Garcia, Xavi Cardaluz and Alberto Sura then at the back of this pack. It'll be interesting to see now if Sura can make easy work of Cardaluz ahead of him, or will he get stuck behind and give Aegis some breathing room out front as the chasing pack battle. See how long it takes him before he gets over past the number 8 of Marco Tapia.
Yeah, Alberto Sura will be carving his way through this field like a hot knife through butter, and Senna Aegis is only 1.6 seconds. I say only 1.6 seconds. It's still a big gap in Moto2. he will be well and truly up for the fight here today, getting his hooks into the back of Senna Aegis as quick as he can as he gets past Tapia and Garcia. Great performance here by Garcia, who's in podium spot right now and looking for his first podium in the Moto2 European Championship. So far we have out of this race Carlos Tata, we saw, and into turn number 1 at the start of lap number 2. Big crash for Carlos Tata. Harrison Voigt at the head of the field as Alberto Sura winds up the wick, and before he get even across the line, he's already into third. He's looking for second on Roberto Garcia. Late on the brakes into turn number 1.
He's going to get him on turn 1 as well, isn't he?
As quick as you like. Absolutely brilliant stuff there from Alberto Sura. But is Garcia going to come back on the side? No, it's not. Alberto Sura, and this is how Alberto Sura took second spot. Late on the brakes into turn number 1, just cutting across ever so slightly, but not too much ahead of Roberto Garcia. And he ran a little bit wide, and Garcia had a little look up the inside into turn number 2, but couldn't quite. 67 on the Bosco Scuro, Team Chiatti Bosco Scuro machine, now with clear track ahead of him on to the back of Senna Aegis. What can Alberto Sura do? He's on course for his first podium of the year so far, but can he now wind up the wick and close in on Senna Aegis? And we've now got Marcos Tapia in third spot ahead of Garcia, and Xavi Cardelus just behind him in 5th.
Yeah, and just is careful. He's just received a track limits warning, as has the number 10 and number 74. That's Unai Oradre and Peter Bersikorski also receiving track limits warnings, even though Bersikorski is at the back of this pack and looks to be out of this race. Yeah,
strange stuff there from either Piotr Bersikorski to Alberto Sura. So Sura leads the way on group number 2. The battle for second, and it's now Marco Tapia on the Yamaha Philippine Stylob bike that's in third spot. Just behind them, Roberto Garcia has got a brace of 4th place finishes, still chasing that first ever podium here in Moto2. And Xavi Cardelus hoping to repeat his podium here 1 year ago. Just behind them, we've got to know what happened to him in on the first lap there. As we get a track limits warning, as you just meant, for Alberto Sura. Alberto Sura in second spot, so this could be detrimental for his challenge for his first podium of the season.
Yeah, looking at the timing screens, and Senna Aegis is pulling the pin out front.
Sam Wilford going for 6th spot here. Oh, it slips around the outside. Does Toledo.
Pull that very, very tight.
Oh, please don't tell me he's going to go around the outside there. No, he's not. The number 72 of Ruiz have found the opportunity and slipped. So, Ruiz, who for now will not be repeating his podium spot from last time out at Jerez, as Sam Wilford had a little look up the inside of Toledo, but you've got to get up early in the morning to outbreak Toledo into turn number 15 there. Taking off another lap. 9 laps to go. Senna Aegis in commanding spot. As they come across the line for second, it's now Tapia that's in second, ahead of Sura, side by side, sticking out the legs, but late on the brakes. Sura is an absolute demon on the brakes into turn number 1, as we saw a few laps ago when he was challenging Senna Aegis for first spot into turn number 1 as well. But as you were taking off another lap.
Opens up a bit of a gap now into P2. Is he going to look up the inside? Cardelus? Not quite just yet. Garcia holds on for the moment.
Well, here comes Tapia back up the inside of Cardelus. That was a great move there. Very, very late on the brakes. Got that stop brilliantly, but he's chopped the nose off Cardelus. That was very close. Almost back up into 4th spot, but no one is having any moment so far. Well, it looked like he almost had a bit of a moment into the final corner there as he braked for turn number 16. But before that, it was smooth sailing for Senna Aegis. He is machine. And he has only just increased that to 4.7 seconds, so already increasing it even further over Alberto Sura, who, as for now, he does have a track limits warning, but for now doesn't have to serve another long lap penalty. Someone that will have to serve a double long lap penalty for a jump start is the number 21, so the number 21 of Eduardo Montero. He's down, all the way down in 20th position.
Having a rough day of things, a double
really
jump start, and he's running at the very back of the pack. Been a day to forget.
Man at the moment, all the way out front. A bit of a moment there, it looked like it would have been for Marco Tapia. So Tapia is really having a lot of rear end problems, and he's just lost the hooks into the back of Roberto Garcia, and he's now slipped back behind Xavi Cardelus as well. So the day is going from bad to worse for Marco Tapia, who was He's running in third spot for a good portion of this race, and already Carlos is looking like he's opening up a couple of bike lengths advantage over the young Spaniard, as Roberto Garcia is now attacking, climbing all over the back of Alberto Sura. So Garcia on course for his first podium in Moto2, but he doesn't want that, as Tapia is looking up the inside of Carlos. Did he make it stick? Yeah, no, he did not. Carlos just holding it for, as we look at Senna Aegis.
Yeah, cruising around Portimao like he owns the place. He is in outwork as we knock
here
off
we go.
another lap. Ooh.
That was the moment there for Carlos Tata.
And
The
then
back
he
end
slides
stepped out.
into the fence.
So rider conscious, that's good to hear the rider is conscious. Tatai has been taken to the medical centre, so we will bring you any further updates on Carlos Tatai. But such a strange crash, such a nasty crash for the race winner from Jerez.
End of that machine is
that was Eduardo Montero, number 21.
Montero, who has the double
they look
long
exactly
lap
the same. So will he come in for the first of those long lap penalties on this lap, running down in 20th spot? That's such a shame for Eduardo Montero. He's not been on the form we know he can have as a young Spaniard, but there it is. The Liqui Moly Husqvarna Junior Team rider, Senna Aegis. So, Chris, I don't blame you. It's very easy to get them mixed up because the colour schemes are exactly the same as well. But Senna Aegis in commanding form, as you said, riding around the Autodromo International do Algarve like he absolutely owns it. 5.59 seconds ahead of Alberto Sura in second spot, with Roberto Garcia climbing all over the back of the Team Chiati Bosco-Scuro machine, on course for his first podium of the season, his first podium in his Moto2 career. But he doesn't want his first podium, he wants a second spot to go one better as well. Look at that, the difference in lap times, better than Alex Escrige's lap record, best race lap record from 1 year ago. So Senna Aegis is not on lap record form. He's absolutely smashing through the best race lap record, 143.709 from the young Australian.
Absolutely superb stuff.
143 for this lap. So wow, he's absolutely punching through the lap record.
Brilliant pace out front here. Absolutely super stuff, and well deserving of what looks to be, yes, another race victory. What a way to bounce back. When Carlos Tatai took victory last time out, he didn't have the best of days in Jerez, still on the podium, and he's bounced back here in emphatic fashion.
Carlos Tatai, maybe that's what pushed Tatai into that mistake on lap number 2 with that big moment into turn number 1. And now, Carlos has now caught the back of Roberto Garcia. We were starting to think maybe Tapia was dropping off the back of Carlos, but he's not. To the ears of Carlos, and Tapia was seeing Tapia up the inside for fourth spot.
Carlos takes fourth. This is a brilliant battle for the final podium place.
Yeah, great battle here for the third stop.
They're gaining on Alberto Sura.
Sura had a couple of tenths advantage over Garcia. I'm not sure if there was a moment there from Sura as he came through turn number 15.
Garcia's eyes must be lighting up as he sees Sura drop into his clutches. The battle for fourth might change hands yet again here, but Sura seems to be dropping pace. He's set a 144.81 there. Roberto Garcia a 144.31, half a second quicker on that last lap.
Absolutely incredible stuff by the riders chasing Alberto Sura. Buy a ticket because this is a showstopper for second spot. Sura is at the head of the field in second, ahead of Garcia, who's now really ramped it up again. So maybe he had a mistake one lap ago, and he's now found his form again.
Here, I think the chasing group here have a much better pace. They were all half a second close to half.
Off there from them, Don Tapia up the inside of Garcia. So Garcia's gone from third down to fifth, but he's hanging out around the outside. Who will it be as
Garcia's
a swoop?
Got him back on the inside,
gone
on the outside.
But Tapia around the inside. Incredible
he's
stuff.
Still hanging around the outside. Is he going to make it stick?
Oh, it's got to be Garcia. Tapia's up the inside for turn number 15. Tapia's done it. That's side-by-side action. Incredible stuff here in Moto2 European Championship. But Tapia advantage for second and third spot as these two continue to battle it out. Oh, shot the nose off Tapia.
Elbows with Tapia as they come in across the front straight.
No love lost there between the two.
Cardalusa ahead.
Battle here.
Cardalusa, is he going to have a little look at Sura coming up? He's coming through.
Oh, he's had a bit of a moment as Cardalusa.
No, he had a moment. That's given Sura just a little bit of breathing room.
Oh, another moment as well.
Series of left-handers, and Garcia's going to take full advantage, I think, here, is he?
Garcia's looking up the inside. He's not doing, but Tapia's looking round the outside of Garcia. It's all stationary as you like into turn number 5 for now. But Sura, that's giving him lots of breathing space in second spot. So the riders, the three riders behind him, who get very close to the back of Just holding it for now. You can imagine that Tapia's going to look up the inside of Garcia. No, he's not. He's going to look round the outside instead. Oh, a bit of a moment there from Garcia as well. Here comes Tapia. He's going for the move like he did one lap ago, and he's done it again.
Got him. Yeah, he's done Garcia on the brakes coming in. Brilliant, brilliant move. And all this, we were questioning Sura. We thought he might be fading, but this is just playing right into his hands as he goes on to consolidate second place, coming over with just over 2 laps to go. It's brilliant times now. Sura had 4/10 in his back pocket over Cardaluz coming there, and 3/10 over the other 2 riders.
Yeah, Alberto Sura has now dipped back into the 1 minute 43. It's a 1:43.8 last time round for Alberto Sura. So maybe he was just looking after that rear tyre, and now he's really opened up the wick and he's pulling away from the chasing pack as he's now really stretching out the group behind him. Cardaluz has now opened up a small gap over Garcia as Tapia is climbing all over the back of his just 2 and a bit laps remaining.
Yeah, 9.817 seconds over Alberto Sura, who was charging hard in the opening laps at the young Australian, but now Aegis is in complete control. Further back, Sura looks to have consolidated a little bit of a gap into P2 and P3, which means Cardaluz, Tapia and Garcia are all fighting it out for that remaining podium place. As we look at Aegis come up on Edu Montero, who had to serve a double long lap penalty and is running at the very back of this race. We can see here now that a gap has opened up between P3 and P4, and it's Cardaluz who is in control, and he's now comment or something for Sura, but yeah, Cardaluz is now eyeing up second place.
That's a couple of laps in a row that Cardaluz has had a moment coming out of turn 3. I was watching him sort of stomp through the gear selector as he was trying to come out of turn at number 3. So maybe he's having a bit of a problem there and is really struggling to come out of turn number 4 without the rear end giving way. But we have seen that Cardaluz in the last few laps has been able to close down on Alberto Sura as the podium. Oh, it's a battle for 4th. Ray John Tapia up the inside. He popped a wheelie come over the crest of the hill. That should have put him further back, but it didn't. He took that advantage and went with it, and he's now back up to 4th spot. That's a great little battle going on between Tapia and Garcia. Further behind them, Mattia Ratto has now moved up into 6th spot ahead of Alex Toledo. Nicolo Antonelli from the back of the grid and serving a long lap penalty. He's now inside the top 10. He's in 8th ahead of Yari Ruiz. He's dropped all the way down to 9th. And Mattia Volpe rounding out the top 10. Unfortunately, Sam Wilford, who was in the battle for 6th just a mere few laps ago, he's dropped all the way down to 11th, but still on for good points ahead of Gerard Riu, and then Francesco Mongiardo, who we saw having problems and having to start from the pit lane. He's then to 13th. Of Sura into turn number 3. No, he can't, but we must watch to see if he has another moment coming out of turn number 3. All seems okay this time round, Chris, so Cardaluz can go on the attack of Alberto Sura for 2nd.
Yeah, on the last lap we are Sene just cruising out in front, but all eyes on this battle for 2nd place between Sura and Cardaluz. Coming into turn 5, Cardaluz just a little bit too far behind to try a move, but he is still...
Moscow Skewing Machine has a few bike lengths advantage coming over the crest of the hill into turn number 11. This is where Cardaluz really winds up the wick, as we see last lap, just a mere 400s faster.
400s out. Incredible. He's getting onto the rear tyre here as we come
he's looking
through.
For it off
he's
the inside.
Having a little look here through turn 13. It might be a little bit too late, but here comes Sene Aegis round the final corner and back on the top step of the podium as he crosses the line to take his 4th win of this year's Moto2 European Championship.
Jerez was just a mere blip. He's back on form. Sene Aegis is your victor. 4th win of the season for the young Australian, the newly turned 18-year-old. He is on form. The battle for 2nd. Here comes
there beside him. Is he going to get it? Sura holds on.
Sura holds on just ahead of Cardaluz, who retakes a podium here in Portimao. Tapia in 4th, and then in 5th spot it is Roberto Garcia. 11.788 advantage over Alberto Sura in the end. Sene Aegis picks up the victory here in race number 1 at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve. Pops a wheelie for good measure as well. He's getting very used to those. A lot of practice Sene Aegis has had with the wheels. And will it pull a little stoppy as well, Jack Miller style? Not quite, down towards turn number 5. A big shout out to Alberto Sura as well. A long lap penalty, and also challenge this man on screen, Sene Aegis, in the opening few laps before his long lap penalty. He comes across the line for his 1st podium of the season in 2nd spot ahead of Xavi Cardaluz, who returns to the podium for the 2nd time this year. But Senna Aegis, there is not enough you can say about him. Super Senna, he has been on form, and there is a brilliant exchange between Sura and Rato as well. Rato congratulating his fellow countryman Alberto Sura on a first podium here in the Moto2 European Championship after what has been a very, very difficult season in 2022 in the Moto3 World Championship, with injuries picked up and missing a lot of rounds through those injuries as well. He picked up 1 point in the Moto3 World Championship, and it was here at the Algarve International Circuit back in 2021, and as a stand-in rider as well. Xavi Cardelus, the Andorran rider on the number 18 Promo Racing bike, he's back on the podium. He really does like it here in Portugal. He picked up a second place in Estoril and rounds at number 1. He picked up a podium here 1 year ago in race number 2, and he picks up another podium here in Portimao with a great little stoppie for good measure as well as he comes into pit lane. He's an absolute character, very, very popular character in the junior GP paddock as well. So he will be starting off the celebrations down in Park Fermi. But everyone will be chasing the Super Senna Aegis, the number 81 machine from Australia, who has just consolidated his advantage at the top of the championship as well. So Cardelus pulls into Park Fermi. You can see Chris Jordan is already down there waiting to talk to this man, Senna Aegis, in a few minutes' time. Somewhat subdued celebrations from the Liqui Moly Husqvarna junior team. It's because they're just so used to winning. This has become run-of-the-mill for the team and Senna Aegis. That's his 4th win from 5 races in 2023 so far. The minor blip of Jerez has been put firmly to the back of his mind with that incredible performance. His check-up in the medical centre after a nasty crash into turn number 1 on lap number 2. So Alberto Sura pulls into Park Fermi. He'll be flowing with emotions any moment now, congratulating his team Chiati Bosco Scuderia machine, and they are overjoyed with that one. Incredible performance by the number 67. The Italian Alberto Sura, he'll be picking up a brilliant, hard-fought